That's beautiful. That was a beautiful sequence. We made it work. That was amazing. What's going on, guys? If you want to support our content and pick up this month's amazing Patreon rewards, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves. If you're interested in custom playmats and sleeves, visit YourPlaymat.com and use code ItResolves10YP for 10% off your entire purchase. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to yet another standard gameplay video. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you are getting ready for the weekend. We've got a very fun deck today. Before we jump into that, though, I just want to remind you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Not only is it a great way to support, but we do have a giveaway going on right now for a draft booster box of Streets of New Capenna. I know we've got a while till that set actually arrives, but I want to give you guys as much time as possible, and we got multiple ways to enter. Subscribing is just one of them, so please do check out all the details. I'll have a little annotation at the top that'll go off, but also we've got it on our homepage, all the details in that video, as well as on our website at resolvesmtg.com. But let's jump into today's deck, guys. We got Azorious Tokens. Kind of an interesting deck here, because this is actually one that I think was built more prior to Kamigawa. I've kind of interjected just a couple of cards that I'd like to try out into this deck. But it's very interesting, and we'll kind of talk about why as we go through. But essentially, this is a Spirits token list. What I mean by that is Clarion Spirit. Every time you cast a second spell each turn, you create a little 1/1 white spirit. We have got Brine Comber, or Comber, and then Brine Bound Gift, basically creating little 1/1 spirits. It's a spirit itself. It does have Disturb as well, so you can bring that back as an enchantment aura. We've got Katilda in here, really an all-star of these kinds of lists, just being able to throw out a lot of damage very, very quickly. And then sitting at the top, we have Emeria's Call, which can obviously drop out some angels and give things indestructible and flying until the end of the turn, which is great. Or excuse me, just indestructible, not flying. But we also have things like Wedding Announcement, which is going to spit out a couple of tokens. Now, these are not spirits, I know. However, I do think that this is a very useful card. Obviously, it gives you that Lord effect. It can give you a little bit of card draw. And as well, we've got things like Rally the Ranks to Lord things up. We've got the Takedown for a little bit of damage. Circle of Confinement for some removal. And then one of the cards that I added, the Restoration. I think this card is just stupid good. We don't have too many of them because we only have a few planes here. But the idea is that you smooth out the mana. You get a free thing, and then hopefully you can keep it going and create more spirit tokens later on the creature side of it. So it's just a really all-around great card that I'm excited to have here. But you'll notice we've got a lot of these like class cards, which I think is interesting, and I left all of these intact for the deck for a couple of reasons. One, I just want to see how it plays out. I think they're all, you know, relatively powerful. Paladin Class obviously slows down the opponent, lords stuff up, and then of course gives you a little bit more attacking power later on. Monk Class is kind of interesting for the deck. It's not one we see very often, but it cheapens up the second spell every turn. It returns something to the hand on level 2, which can be very powerful. And then on level 3, theoretically, it gives you an extra card most of the time. Now, if you draw a land and you're top decking, little unexciting there, but it does give you extra stuff you can do later on. And then Wizard Class here, you have no maximum hand size, you draw a couple cards, and then whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. A great way to buff up some of these tokens. But all in all, I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm not sold that this deck is good. I think it's really bad to sweepers, in particular Farewell, which hits basically everything in the deck. But I do think it can outpace things like Meat Hook Massacre. Now, we'll see. You got to get lucky for that, I know, but we're going to give it a shot. One other card I will say that I did add, just a 1 of Seat of the Empire here, just to give us, again, that little bit of removal aspect from the land side. We do have Cave of the Frost Dragon as well, but all of this to say, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm kind of stoked to try this out because I do love token decks. Azorious Tokens in particular is kind of fun, and so I'm intrigued by this. We're going to give it a shot, guys. We're hopefully going to have some fun, get through a handful of games. We'll see how many. Yesterday we only got through 2, but hopefully we can get through at least 3 with this one. Let's jump right in. Let's see how it goes. All right, guys, and here we are for game number 1. This is actually a pretty easy keep. We've got the turn 1 Wizard Class, Clarion Spirit coming down hopefully later on, and actually a double up on that with the Katilda. seems like an easy keep to me, so I'm definitely going to. And then we can actually draw some cards here off of this wizard class later on, hopefully getting it to level 3 pretty quickly as well, which would be just phenomenal. But yeah, I like this. Guys, just a heads up, tomorrow we are going to have part 2 of our collection update series. For those of you who don't know or haven't watched the first one, basically what we're doing is taking a look at the new additions to my personal collection that I'm getting every single week. And we've got some interesting stuff in the next one. A lot of packs, some of which are really exciting. I will also mention on the upcoming week, we're gonna have some really interesting stuff, I think. Very different than what we're maybe used to. Some really interesting singles, and then hopefully in the future, we actually have a deck that I'm gonna be building, and we're going for some of the premium stuff on this one, so I'm really excited to see how that goes. So they're gonna get the attachment onto the automaton here. This is definitely a little scary. So the question becomes, what do we do? We could just throw out Katilda. I don't think that's good. We can Circle of Confinement, but it does have the ward cost, so that's not a great option for us either. Well, there's not a whole lot we can do. I think... So this does only hit creatures, just to be clear. I think first things first, we are going to just attack him. There's no reason really not to. We can't do too much about that. And I think we're just going to Katilda here. So the reason being, Katilda has lifelink, so we need to get that going immediately. If they do kill this, that's not the end of the world for us because we've got the disturb option on it. So we'll see how this goes, but that is so good. So we're not going to block. Not great for us, I know, but just hold on to your we got this. Don't you worry. All right, so I think the play. Let's just make sure. So we can do quite a bit here, but I think the play is definitely the Circle of Confinement. It is going to take the ward cost to do it, but I do think that this is definitely worthwhile. We'll auto pay. That gets it off the board for this as well, which is really important because it just devalues it. And then we obviously gain 4 life, so we're back up to that 13. So this has no target other than our own creatures, which is phenomenal. And so that just devalues that as best we can. Silver Raven's annoying because obviously they can equip this up. But we actually do have the Monk class that we can use to bounce this. So we'll see. Restoration, huh? Also, trying to play very safely as we go through this, because I do want to make sure that we're playing correctly here. All right, so let's do this. This is going to cheapen up second spells every turn as well, which is really nice. Alternatively, we can just play a Clarion Spirit and start to... Or... I'm going to go this route. So what I'm trying to do is set ourselves up for a very smooth transition into the next turn here. We can actually bounce some things later, but I think we just attack here with this. This is a big hit, and so they do need to consider what they would like to do here, but it looks like they're going to take it. We're going to go back up to 20. And again, here, we are just setting ourselves up for a really nice couple of turns here. They can certainly attack him, but we're back up to 20 life. I don't feel like we're under as much pressure anymore. They're down to 5. And so they really have to be careful here as far as what they'd like to do. That's very good. They are going to get a big hit on that Silver Raven for sure. But again, it's not the end of the world. I think we just block. And, I mean, we save ourselves the 8 damage. We really didn't even have to do that, but I think it was worth it to. So this is kind of a cool thing to do. We can throw the Clarion Spirit down. We get it back onto the field immediately, which is great. Let's go ahead and throw this out. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll take out this Raven, which creates 2 tokens and gives us that 10/10 Katilda. And then this has no blocker, and we just get the win. That's beautiful. That was a beautiful sequence. We made it work. That was amazing. Guys, super quick. Let's jump into game number 2. All right, guys, here we are for game number 2. That first game was absolutely perfect. We're going to try and replicate that this time. This is a bit of an interesting hand. It's a little bit do-nothing in the early turns, I think. I mean, Rally the Ranks really doesn't do a ton right off the bat, but we do have some options. We'll go ahead and play the Wizard class right off the bat. Next turn, we can drop that Cave of the Frost Dragon. If we do draw like a Clarion Spirit or something along those lines, we'll obviously switch it up. It looks like we're against a very similar style deck also. Interesting. All right, so we'll name Spirit. This is going to power up all of our spirits later on, which is great. We do have the Brine Comber. I don't know. We got that thing that can come down eventually here. And we do have the Restoration as well. This is going to be a beefy deck that I think we're facing here. Little terrifying, I'm not going to lie. All right, so we do play land, and then the question becomes, what's the best play for us here? I think it's just to throw this out. And what this is doing is essentially decentivizing them from attacking with everything. It's not necessarily a great option, but it's the best we have at the moment, so I think we're going to take it. This is a scary deck. This is certainly one I'd like to try. This has Menace now. Oof, that's terrifying. Yeah, I mean, there's not much we can do about that, so fair enough. So what can we actually do here? Probably not that much, to be honest. Go ahead and do this. I think we'll go ahead and do this. Yeah, and I think we just pass. This Silver Raven, so good. The Blade of Oni giving it Menace is such a problem for us. We just don't have a way right now to deal with that. And this is actually getting in for a free attack as well, so we just have nothing. I mean, we literally just have nothing. Yeah. So we're dead, right? Pretty close. Let's see. Okay, so we don't have 2 flyers, so this can't be blocked. We do have this, which can kill the automaton, although we have to pay the ward cost of 2 to do it. Yeah, so I think we just lose. I'm gonna draw a couple cards just to see what we get. You never know. Might be able to get something, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not good enough. So we'll name Spirit again, but yeah, we're super dead here, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and concede. That was a super fast game as well. Unfortunate we didn't get the win, but it's all good. We got plenty of time, guys. Let's jump into a game 3 right now. All right, guys, here we are for our 3rd game. And yeah, I mean, I think this is an okay keep. It's not great. Again, a little bit do nothing in terms of we don't have a lot of stuff we can do right off the bat. However, the Restoration is going to help us out quite a bit. That Circle of Confinement probably is going to help us out quite a bit as well. So let's go ahead and Wizard class here. I'm curious to see if this is just rogues, which is certainly a possibility given the Wind Robber and the Black Source. Okay, it's Ninjutsu. Fair enough. Ninjutsu is a very frustrating deck to deal with, but again, we do have some options here, so that's helpful. I do actually really like the Monk class as well. Let's go ahead and throw that circle out on the Master here, just to get that off the field. Slows this down. It also means their ninjutsu cost is a little more expensive, we'll say. And hopefully... Okay, so it's an Umezawa deck. Fascinating. Let's make sure we're doing this correctly. I do think we just have to do it like this, if I'm not mistaken. So this guarantees us the white source here. This also gives us the opportunity to get this monk class down next turn, so we can actually discard it and then get it back. This is scary, though. They could certainly have basically anything in their hand, which is not good. But again, the monk class does help us out here. Okay, there's Nashi. Again, we knew that was potentially going to happen, so that's a little scary. Nashi is very, very good here. So they can play a Clarion Spirit for 2 life, is essentially how this works. They do not have a land drop this... I think they played their land this turn, so that's not going to happen. Okay. So, let's do this. We're gonna discard that monk class. We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna play land. So we can play Paladin Class, and then Katilda, perhaps, or let's make sure we're doing this properly. We can't play both of those. Got to remember about the lands here. That's a bit of a tricky place to be. Alternatively, we can do this. Opponent really unhappy with how slow I'm playing, but I think this is okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna just get a bunch of stuff down here. This gives us a little bit of a blocker. It's not great. But it is something, and then next turn we can drop Katilda and it be just massive here. All right. We're not positive they have another land. They have not played one. Network Disruptor. Okay, so they're going to tap down the token, I assume, just so they can get in for the free attack. That makes sense. Okay. Hopefully they don't have a follow-up Network Disruptor. That would be a bit of a problem for us. We do have the Architect of Restoration coming out next turn. So even if they do, we at least have a couple of things we can do. Wow, they've got their own Restoration now. That's a little scary. Thankfully, this other Nashi is basically not playable. Or if it is, that's fine, but they're going to lose one, so that doesn't net them that much except for a blocker. They are going to play Restoration. They don't have a Plains, I assume. Okay. So this is going to come down, which is great. I think we just have to play Katilda. It's a little underwhelming, I know, but I don't think we've got much of a better option here. And I think we just have to pass. Here's to hoping. This is a very scary place to be, but Katilda does have a lot of life gains, so as long as they don't have a Network Disruptor, we can at least block. And then theoretically gain our life back. Again, not super optimistic, but it is a possibility. And then from here, okay, they're just gonna attack with some of these little 1/1s here. I think we definitely hit the Network Disruptor and take the other two. Get this off the field if we can. They're gonna ninjutsu out something here. It could just be Nashi. Fighting Palm Ninja. Okay. Okay. Again, on the bright side, we gain some life back here. They're gonna exile, looks like the rally the ranks, which is fine. That's not that big of a deal. They've got another win, Robert. Okay. All right, so this turn could be a really interesting one. So let's see what we can do here, guys. We do actually have quite a bit of power on the field, worth noting. So we can do that and guarantee a hit. That's not bad. We can also draw a couple cards. I think step one is going to be to do that. Let's draw a couple here. Circle of Confinement, huh? All right, let's bounce. Actually, the Clarion Spirit. Let's get that back. This has Vigilance, so this is a free attack. All right. Now here they can easily block, and that's fine. Doesn't really matter to me. They're gonna double block the Architect. Okay, so we know. I mean, we have to kill the Nashi. We know they have another Nashi. But the trick for us is gaining that life, and then here, this is gonna flip. So now we've got 2/2s that can theoretically do something. They've got their own Architect now, which is terrifying, but I think we'll see. We will see. I don't want to speak too soon here. We did a great job of refilling our hand, though, which is pretty awesome. So I am gonna block like this. I think. Yeah. So I do want to kill this Umezawa if we can. The Biting Palm Ninja has kind of done its thing, so I'm not as worried about it, but I am going to try and save as much life as I can. Okay. Sure. Okay, so they've got a Prosperous Thief coming down, which is very good, but we do kill the Umezawa here, so they're not going to continuously just refill. I don't know, guys. This is a tricky one, but we do have a lot of land and all of these to do quite a lot with. This is actually okay. I think we can win this turn. So the way I think we win is we Circle of Confinement on the Wind Robber, and then we activate Katilda on the token. Since they don't have flying, that means this just gets in for the attack. And we just win. We did it. That was awesome. Heck yes. Okay, that was actually a little bit scary. That was definitely a tougher game in general, but we did it. We got the win. That was great, guys. Let's talk about this deck. All right, guys, so Azorious Tokens, what do we think? I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoy the play pattern of this deck. It feels like it's attacking on something a little bit different than a normal tokens list, which is all based on the class cards that we have. The Wizard class, the Paladin class, I believe it's Paladin or Cleric class maybe, and then the Monk class, all of which just give you options later on down the road. Which are not necessarily perfect options, right? Like, not every time are they going to be relevant. Not every time are they going to do exactly what you need them to do. But that still being said, you have options for, you know, most situations. And I think as long as you are careful in the order in which you do things, this deck actually has some legs. I'm not saying it's tier 1. I'm not trying to say it's the most competitive deck in the world, but I am very happy with the performance here. We got 2 out of 3 wins, which I will happily take. And hopefully we can kind of play around with this a little bit more down the road. I think there's a lot of different configurations you can run with this. Obviously, we've seen certain versions of this list with things like Hollowed Haunting, which really take more of a mid-range approach and less of a Lord approach, in which you're just trying to get out a bunch of enchantments and kind of get effects plus tokens along the way. This is a little bit more on the just purely I want tokens and Lord effects, and that's it. You're not going quite as wide, I would suggest. But all that being said, it was a great time. It was a really good time. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please make sure to like, comment down below any suggestions you might have, because I do think this is an interesting one. But guys, I really do appreciate everybody watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget to watch out for the collection update video coming tomorrow. We'll have another one on the following week, of course. Those are kind of our new Saturday norms, so just kind of a nice day off. But guys, thank you so much. I love you all. I'll see you later.